With Ian Maatsen joining Borussia Dortmund, Marc Cucurella fresh out of surgery, and Ben Chilwell's future reliability under scrutiny, it is believed Chelsea are about to enter the market in the hopes of landing a new left-back. In this video, I'll be analysing 3 choices who I believe would be perfect for Chelsea. Before I continue, I would like to quickly remind you I am running a giveaway with OwnASaber.com where at 15,000 subscribers you could be in with a chance at winning the King of London lightsaber, the perfect saber for every Chelsea fan. 3 participants will be chosen and all you have to do to enter is subscribe to the channel and check the pinned comment down below for more information. And with that, on with the video. Now, the 3 options I have made can be titled the Superstar option, the Experienced option, and the Wild card. I am going to begin with the Superstar, Alphonso Davies. Alphonso Davies has endured one of the more inspirational journeys to superstardom. Davies was born on the 2nd of November 2000 in a Ghanaian refugee camp. His parents had been forced to evacuate their home in Liberia as a result of the Second Liberian Civil War, a 4-year conflict which is believed to have resulted in the passing of over 150,000 people and the displacement of 450,000, including Alphonso Davies' family. Around the age of 5, Davies and his family moved to Canada, and by the age of 14, he had already established himself as a star in the making in the world of football. It was around this time when the young prodigy left his home in Edmonton to join the Vancouver Whitecaps residency program, over 1,000 kilometers away. After working his way through the Whitecaps Academy, Davies would make his official debut for the senior side on the 16th of July 2016, officially becoming the 2nd youngest player in the history of MLS football. Before long, his natural talent, breakneck speed and technical ability was noticed by another club, and just 2 years after making his senior debut at 15 years old, he had signed for Bayern Munich, one of the most successful and demanding sides in the history of football. Since joining the Bavarians, Alphonso Davies has become a mainstay in the side, playing a crucial role in the Champions League final victory and subsequent league titles, cups and European trophies. So what makes him so special? Alphonso Davies inherits what can only be described as the perfect ingredients to excel at high-level competition. Incredible pace, versatility and tenacity, whether this be in the attacking or defensive phase. Having high levels of pace in football can be incredibly advantageous if you know how to use it, and for Alphonso Davies, he certainly knows how to use it. An example I like to think of is in mixed martial arts. There are a number of different disciplines: boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. A lot of the times, fighters use their expertise in one area almost as bait in order to utilize another practice against their opponent. We saw this when Khabib Nurmagomedov fought Conor McGregor. Khabib is known for his wrestling prowess and the danger in which it inherits, and so Conor, in preparation for the fight, no doubt would have drilled takedown defense maneuvers to give himself the best chance at staying vertical. Khabib used what Conor had learned against him by feinting a level change, making it appear he was about to explode into a takedown attempt. Conor read this, dropped his gaze and arms to begin defending the takedown, only to be met by a crisp overhand right, landing right on his unprotected jaw, knocking him down. Alphonso Davies uses his pace like Khabib uses his wrestling. Sometimes the threat of it is enough to open up new avenues. We've seen players rush into tackles, slide into where they anticipate Davies is going to be, only for Davies to stop in his tracks, letting his opponent's own momentum take them out of the equation. Then he bursts into the space before putting in a cross or a pass. He loves to do this. In fact, he ranks in the 99th percentile for take-ons attempted and successful take-ons. He also ranks very highly for carries into the penalty area, and key passes. I mentioned his versatility. Davies can play in a number of roles down that left-hand side. Whether this be playing as an out-and-out winger, a left wing-back or a left-back, he is more than capable of excelling in any of these positions. As you can see by his heat map, he is just as involved in the attack as he is in the defense. Some may question his positioning, seeing as in theory it does leave a gap in behind, but I would in fact say this isn't an issue. Alphonso Davies is brilliant at recovery tackles. His pace allows him to cover a lot of ground very quickly, allowing him to make up for any mistakes made. It's basically a get-out-of-free jail card with infinite uses. The Canadian stands at 6 foot tall, meaning he is more than capable of competing in the air. We see by his percentile rankings that he doesn't necessarily challenge his opponents for headers at the same rate compared to his peers. However, when he does, he is rather successful, averaging a 60% win rate for aerial duels, better than 87% of his competition. This is an area Mauricio Pochettino has outlined Chelsea need to compete more in, and so in theory, Davies would help greatly in this department. Another point I'd like to mention is the personal connection between Alphonso Davies and Chelsea. Although Real Madrid are the favourites to the Canadian signature, during an interview with ESPN, Davies revealed he watched Chelsea growing up. His father is a Chelsea fan, the toughest English opponent he had faced to that point was Chelsea. Between the Premier League and La Liga, he chose the Premier League, and when asked if he had to choose a Premier League team to support, he chose Chelsea. Now we get to the price, and this part may shock you. Alphonso Davies enters the final year of his contract this summer, and with the Canadian stalling during negotiations for a renewal, the German giants have no choice but to sell him. According to Bild, a rather reputable source of information for German football, Bayern Munich are asking for just 50 million euros for one of the best left-backs in the world. An incredible price, especially in today's market. Real Madrid have reportedly told Bayern they are willing to pay 40 million euros for the player, a 10 million euro discrepancy. I have little doubt personal terms would be an issue, and with the future sales of Ian Maatsen and Lewis Hall, the fee is paid for with change to spare. Moving on now to the more experienced option, Inter Milan's Federico Dimarco. Dimarco was born on the 10th of November 1997 in Milan and would join the Inter Milan Youth Academy in 2004. The Italian would spend the next 11 years growing and developing as a left-sided defender, before eventually making his senior debut on the 11th of December 2014 against Karabag in the Europa League before returning to the academy. Not wanting to rush his development, Inter took their time with the wingback, loaning him to numerous clubs before selling him to the Swiss side Sion. However, there was a buyback clause inserted into his contract, which was exercised on the 5th of July 2018. Before long, he was loaned again, this time to Parma for a season. After the loan, he stayed with Inter before leaving again to join Hellas Verona for an 18-month spell. Since his return, Dimarco has proven to be nothing short of a reliable asset for the Inter Milan team, playing as a wingback in Inzaghi's 3-5-2. This season, in 15 league appearances, he has started all 15, making an attacking impact of 3 goals and 4 assists. From what I've seen, it's clear Dimarco likes to play the majority of his football in the opponent's half, making overlapping runs in behind, whipping in highly accurate crosses, or dropping into more central areas to cover the gaps made by advancing midfielders. He's not as strong defensively as Alphonso Davies is, both of which like to attack with the ball, although Davies is perhaps more of a ball carrier, where Dimarco thrives with his ball striking abilities. His shorter stature allows him to make faster turns, beating his man before usually creating a shooting action. The Italian is playing for a highly attack-minded team, and so it would be expected his defensive qualities aren't shown in the greatest light. He ranks above the 50th percentile mark for only 2 stats, and that's tackles in the middle third and attacking third, the areas in which he inhabits most, as you can see by his heat map. I'm going to compare it side by side to Danny Rose's heat map from the 16-17 season. As you can see, there does seem to be a 60-40, even 65-35 split in terms of how much Dimarco spends in the opponent's half and how much he spends in his own. This isn't to the detriment of his team, however. Inter Milan are currently top of the league for fewest goals conceded at just 8 so far this season, even with Dimarco playing high at the field. It does appear, however, the right wing back Darmian inherits a lot of the defensive responsibilities, allowing Dimarco to have more attacking freedom. Another one of his strengths is his dead ball ability. Dimarco has both excellent crossing ability coupled with scoring from free kicks. Following the departure of players like Marcos Alonso, Chelsea have struggled to take advantage of the average 5.05 corners they receive per 90. Having someone who can deliver said corners with great accuracy could be the difference between 1 point and all 3. A potential barrier that stands in the way for a move for Federico Dimarco is the fact the Italian did just sign a 1-year contract extension, taking the Italian's stay up to 2027. Before this agreement, the reported fee demanded by Inter was in the region of 50 million euros. However, I would imagine this price would have increased since then. It does appear 3 of the back formations are the most dominant when used correctly. Inter Milan, Bayer Leverkusen and Sporting are all playing incredibly exciting, dominant football through utilising attacking wingbacks. Dimarco certainly fits the mould of the modern day attacking fullback. Whether he is slightly too attack-minded for Pochettino's system is the question. Finally, we move on to the wild card, Valentin Barco of Boca Juniors, a player who would perfectly fall in line with the current recruitment strategy at Chelsea. Born on the 23rd of July 2004, Barco has quickly become one of the more exciting defensive players coming out of South America. He began his footballing journey at the tender age of 3, joining his local academy Sportivo Las Parejas. Walking and kicking a ball were synonymous for the young Valentin, and before long, Boca Juniors would notice the rise of the promising youngster and officially signed him in 2014 when he was just 9 years old. 7 years later, Valentin Barco made his official senior debut for Boca Juniors at 16 years of age before returning to the development side to continue his growth and transition from promising academy star to professional footballer. It would be in the 22-23 season where the wider footballing audience would come to know the name Valentin Barco, scoring 1 goal while providing 3 assists for his side over a span of 26 appearances. Much like our other 2 options, Valentin Barco oozes versatility. He can play left back, a more attacking role as a left midfielder in a 4-4-2, or even in the midfield, sitting just in front of the left back. Being so young and naturally talented with the ball at his feet has allowed the Argentinian to absorb a wealth of knowledge very quickly, meaning he understands the role he is given by his coaches to great success. At 5'6", Barco is the shortest of the 3, but sometimes in football, height isn't everything. On the ball, his lower centre of gravity allows him to make quick turns while shifting the ball with snappy footwork, retaining possession when under pressure. Similarly to his fellow countryman Enzo Fernandez, Barco is more than capable of slowing play down, analysing what's in front of him before releasing a long sweeping pass across the field or a line breaking through ball in behind, directly creating a chance on goal. I did bring up his height, and while he is able to use his lower centre of gravity when taking on players, it does leave him unable to compete in the air. We see this through his poor aerial metrics. This doesn't necessarily mean he's destined to fail as a left back. Marcelo, one of the best left backs of all time, was merely 2 centimeters taller than Valentin Barco. It just means he will have to work on what he's already good at, so his other strengths outweigh his main weakness. Chelsea will have to act fast if they want to sign Barco, as Brighton are already in advanced talks with the left back, with rumours circulating the Seagulls have already launched a £7.9 million bid for the talented star. Brighton are of course well known for their exceptional scouting, so it's no wonder as to why they would be interested in a player like Barco. So, who is the best out of the 3? DataMB is a great tool for answering a question like this, as it illustrates each player's strengths and weaknesses in an easy to understand form. Dimarco is in the nice shade of red, Barco is in the orange, and Davies is in blue. All 3 are excellent ball carriers. They love to have the ball at feet and take on players through bursts of pace and close ball control. Dimarco does stand out for a number of metrics, that being crossing ability, expected assists, progressive passes, and the number of defensive duels he partakes in. Barco surprisingly stands out for defensive actions, once again proving height isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all for defenders. Look at N'Golo Kante, 5'6", and yet he will be remembered as one of the best ball-winning midfielders the Premier League has ever seen. Alphonso Davies stands in front when it comes to his aerial ability, along with his ball carrying, although, as mentioned previously, this is an area all 3 excel in. Football isn't played on paper, however, and context must be taken into consideration. Valentin Barco, although I wholeheartedly believe he will become an excellent footballer, would once again be another inexperienced option, which leaves potential aerial weakness in the defence. Federico Dimarco, in my opinion, is a brilliant player. However, I believe the system he is playing in right now allows him to basically exist in the opponent's half, whilst Damian operates more defensively. Chelsea play a 4-2-3-1 with fullbacks joining the attack, but not to the extent in which Dimarco operates. If we were, in the future, to transition into a 3 at the back formation, Dimarco would be a shoo-in. However, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. This, of course, leaves us with Alphonso Davies. To me, although it's the obvious answer, Davies is number 1. You could argue his age plays against him. We need experience, but what better experience is out there compared to the player who's been operating at the highest level of football for nearly 4 years? 4 years of Champions League football, 4 years working under the likes of Hansi Flick, Julian Nagelsmann, and Thomas Tuchel, some of the best German coaches in the game today. 4 years of winning back-to-back league titles, cups, individual awards, you name it. He has expressed his desire to play in the Premier League and is already an admirer of Chelsea. His price is also highly attractive. €50 million for a player of his calibre in the market we operate in today is incredible. This is an opportunity too good to miss out on. Todd Boehly, Bedad Egbali, get it done. And that's about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you have any suggestions for a future video, I'll be more than happy to oblige. As always, I've been TheQuickTake, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.